Okay. Oh my gosh, that was something, right? Okay, so I got my phone stuck down. Rats stuck in there. And I'm going to be going to Abilene. Kansas. And I want to stay off it'll let me do this. Avoidance of highways. There we go. If I stay off of highways, that basically keeps me off of interstates. Kind of, sort of, sometimes, not always. So, all right, so I got my trash run done. Got my truck rearranged. Had my nice long hot bath this morning, so I'm all relaxed. I'm not in any hurry. I got plenty of time for a change. This is really nice for me to not have to be in a hurry. It's kind of a big deal to me. I really like not having to be in a hurry. They threw out an orange for the deers and they ignored it. They probably should have cut it open and cut it in little chunks. Then they'd eat it. They like fruit. They're little fruit hogs. Okay, I guess I should turn this around and drive back through here so you can see the deer. Let me just do that and start over. I am at Lake Humphreys near Marlow, Oklahoma, and I'm going to turn around here and run back through because the deer are all out, and I don't give you guys enough cool scenery stuff like this. But I'm going to turn around and go back through. Since I'm not in a hurry today, can you imagine that? I'm not in a hurry. It's pretty damn awesome, actually, to not be in a hurry. So this is a lake where we've got a little lake house, and we haven't ever actually got done remodeling it. It's still unremodeled after all these years, but we lived out here in our RV for almost 10 years, working on the house a little at a time. Bill was just too busy. He was running a business, and it wasn't a big priority. So the deer out here are so tame and so spoiled that they come up to the road, and people throw out corn on the ground for them, and they'll come eat it. As you can see, you have to be careful going through here because they don't really fear vehicles too much. And we have wild turkeys out here also, possums, raccoons, a couple of bobcats. We used to have a herd of wild donkeys until the city of Duncan decided they had to be all big asses about it, and they captured them and sold them off. We used to have a peacock wandering around out here with the turkeys, but she died the first year we were here. I guess she was pretty old then. She looked pretty bedraggled. Somebody had turned her out here with the wild turkeys, and she just took up with them and lived with them for the rest of her life. So birds of a feather may flock together, but if you don't have a bird of a feather around to flock with, I guess you'll flock with whoever's around. I mean, that seems reasonable to say. And the reason there are no leaves on these trees is because these are all oak trees. The other varieties of trees in here are getting their leaves, but all these major big ones are oak trees. So there's a redbud up here trying to bloom. just right up kind of above us on the right. You can see a little bit of pinkishness to it. And the lake is really low. It's pretty low out there. This is just one branch of the lake. It's a pretty good sized lake. It's not huge, but it's pretty good size. And it's a fishing lake. It's not a swimming or a skiing lake. But it's a damn good fishing lake. We've caught crappie, catfish, walleye, bass. I'm not sure what else in here, but we've caught all those. We first moved here, we fished quite a bit, and then we got busy and haven't fished since, really. We had a little pontoon boat we used to take out. That was kind of fun for a minute. But it was one we got used really cheap. It was not like a fancy party barge type setup. It was just an old beat up pontoon, but lots of fun. And then we ended up selling it off. We didn't use it enough, so we sold it to some other guy so they could go use it for a while and then sell it to somebody else cheap. It's kind of the way it works. So I'm going to show y'all something down here. Something that if you're in certain parts of the country, you probably will never have heard of. But if you're in the South, you're probably very familiar with. So I'm just going to loop around down here. First, here's our boat dock. And that's not what I'm talking about, being different. In some parts of the country, you don't have these, but if you see this little house sitting over here, I'll actually go down the road to it. That's a crappie house. And what that is, it's indoor fishing. So when the crappie are biting, people will come down here and go into this little crappie house. And they'll sit inside of there, and it's open in the middle to the water. One of these days I'll get out the camera and go show you what it looks like. Not today, I've got other stuff I gotta do, but it's open in the middle so you can sit in there around the edges on your lawn chair or just lean around along the rail, or you can fish outside off the rail, but you can fish inside there. That's why my grandma used to like to go fishing, is in the crappie house. To get you in out of the elements. She would go inside and jig for crappie, and she'd give me bait made of Wheaties and 7-Up and send me outside to fish for carp. So I was not an accomplished jigger, so I couldn't come in the crappie house and jig with Grandma. Yeah, that's a true story there. All right, I guess we'll just go out. There are 3 roads coming into this lake. The one that we just passed is the central road. It runs along the top of a ridge, and then the one we just came up from our place, and then this road ran along the edge of the lake. It's actually really nice out here, and this is the campground over on the left. There's a pavilion for picnics. And there's a lot of people in the campground this year. This is nice. They cleaned it up a lot. About 6 or 7 years ago, well, maybe not that long. Yeah, I guess it has been. We had a bunch of meth heads out here that took over the campground at the lake, and they had a bunch of beat up, broken down campers sitting in there, and they were just up here hooting and hollering and partying and selling dope all night. And we had a dope dealer living right next door to us, which we ended up, the only way we could ever get rid of him was to buy him out. So we bought him out cheap, and it was a terrible little trailer. I thought we were going to have to burn it down basically to get rid of it, because I figured it'd be full of meth. But I tested it, and lo and behold, it wasn't. So we went ahead and fixed it up and sold it. So that was how we had to get rid of the meth head or the meth dealer next door, that he was selling meth and I guess a lot of other type of stuff too. He was not a meth head, I don't think. I think he was a downer freak. You know, there's addicts of all kinds, and I'm not saying that to be mean, because you know, people get addicted, but people also choose to stay in that lifestyle, and it's not something that they have to do. And there are cajillions of ex-junkies and ex-druggies who can attest to that. Once you decide you're not going to do it, then you just don't do it. But he kept doing it, and he's dead now. He got put in prison for, guess what, selling drugs. Big shock there. And he died in prison. So, you know, sad. Waste of a life. But, you know, I didn't have a whole lot of sympathy for him because he was a drug dealer. And I don't really like drug dealers. I think they're the scum of the earth because they're hurting people, actively hurting people for money. You know, that's what drug dealing is. Well, there's some leaves on this tree on the left here. Yeah. Yep. All right, so we're going to go ahead and head north. Vultures in the tree up here. Look at those guys. 2 buzzards sitting in a tree. One of my favorite 1970s posters. One buzzard sitting in the tree turns to the other buzzard that's sitting in the tree and he says, "Patience my ass, I'm going to kill something." So I actually have that poster, a picture of it, up on my written blog, which is WordPress, Woman at the Wheel. It's linked on my YouTube channel, my written blog is. So I actually started out doing written blogs a long time ago when I started hotshotting back in like 2010. And I had a whole bunch of stuff posted, but I ended up taking it all down because I thought I was done with all that. And I'm kind of sorry that I did, because I lost a lot of, you know, old content that might have been entertaining, because I was right about some stuff and I was way wrong about some other stuff. And it's funny to look back in retrospect, you know, like all the stuff I was actually right and wrong about. But this is a narrow little country lane, and Bill calls this Murder Road because there are usually dead critters all over it. People drive through here way too fast. And especially at night, the raccoons and the possums and the skunks just get murderized on this road. And the deer and cats and dogs and whatever else is out running loose. So it can be pretty gruesome. Today it doesn't seem to have any carcasses, which is nice. There's some red buds on the left just past this little drive. They're nice and pink, very pretty. Trying to get this camera to stabilize. I don't know if it will. We're just going to have to deal with what I've got to deal with, because the other mount is not going to work in this truck. It worked in the Ford relatively well, but the Ford seat is a lot different. These seats are super wide, and I didn't have it in there where I could just crank it down really hard with the seat belt like I can in the Ford. So it was kind of, that was not going to work. So this is the best I can do. You know, try and get my adjustment just right. Okay, that's going to drive me freaking nuts. I'm going to run back by the farm and drop this thing off. I'm not going to listen to that all the way to Kansas. No way, Jose. I wasn't going to do that because I don't want to disrupt everybody, but I can't do that. I cannot listen to that all the way to Kansas and back. No. Not happening. I'm going right by there anyway, so I guess everybody will, either they'll be glad to see me again before I actually leave, or they won't. I don't know. We'll find out. Some days yes, some days no. Yeah, that's not gonna do. Oh, there's old cows out. They're enjoying this weather, I do believe. It's not hot, it's not cold for a change. Well, it's 38 degrees, but the sun's out, so that makes it tolerable. Actually, more than tolerable. It's pretty pleasant out there right now. Okay, so I have to get serious about this because I've been lollygagging around and it's 11 o'clock. So it'll be 11:15 before I actually get on the road. So I get up here and drop this box off. So that should put me in Abilene around 6-ish, 6 or 7. So it'll be before dark. It'll be late enough in the evening that I won't have to just sit in the motel room and be bored. I can just get ready for bed and go get some good sleep and then get up early in the morning. So I've got to get up about 5 in the morning, get ready to go, and be 45 minutes away from where I'm going to stay at to where I pick the trailer up at by 7 o'clock. So I need to be leaving that motel room by about 6:10 or 6:15 at the very latest. I'll probably be leaving by 6. I'm usually, if I know I've got to get up, I just do it. I may not like it, but I just freaking do it, you know, what adults do. May not like it, you may not feel like it, and it may be something you don't want to do, but you just do it anyway. Because it needs done. Yeah, that's a loud, noisy freaking thing that is going to get evicted. I'm not taking that to Kansas. Just not. Just not. So you can see up in here more, the different varieties of trees are getting their leaves. All of the ones at the lake were oaks, and these are much broader variety of stuff. We've got a lot of different trees in Oklahoma. I can't even tell you what all's here. So we got all kinds of different evergreens, different variety of cedars, and different variety of pines. And we've got elms, oaks, sycamores, hickories, catalpas, locusts, variety of fruit trees, lots of nut trees. We've got walnuts, black walnuts, or pecans and black walnuts. And there are different varieties of pecans too. We've got paper shell pecans, and then we've got native pecans. We actually have a native pecan tree on the place up here, but we haven't ever gone out and gathered them up. Native pecans are very small. They're not like, they don't have the great big meats in them that the paper shells do. So Mom and Dad had 2 paper shell trees in their yard, and they got a lot of pecans. It was one of Mom's favorite activities for exercise, was going out and picking up the pecans. So she really enjoyed having them, and she enjoyed making stuff with them too. So neighbors have got a couple of horses out there now. This is the first year they've had horses since we've been here. Oh, I kind of hate to do this because it's going to rile everybody up, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm always pushing this gate, not like literally pushing it, but I'm always antsy to get in it. Wish it moved a little faster. Bill's always like, be careful, you're going to hook that gate. I'm not going to hook the gate. I don't know what you mean by hook the gate. Like hook it on my mirror? I don't know. Okay, I'm going to drop this box off on the porch because it ain't going any farther. Well, that was cool. Everybody was glad to see me. I disrupted everybody, but they were all glad to see me. It's better than disrupting them and having everybody mad that you disrupted them. So this truck is just getting ready to turn 200,000 miles. This is a milestone that I've put off for a long time on it because I was, before I was trying to sell it, which obviously. Hey, there's a mockingbird. I wonder if that's... No, it probably isn't. Sorry. Totally lost my train of thought. Totally lost it. I guess I'm going to be editing some of that out. So I happened to see a mockingbird. Well, we used to have a mockingbird here, and we gave him a name because he was a very unique mockingbird. And his name was Bernard. Bernard, like Bernard, but Bernard. And the reason we gave him a name is because he made himself very well known because he would fight with the mirrors on the vehicles. He would fight with himself in the mirrors on the vehicles, to be exact. And he was always making a ruckus, and then he would come and tap on the windows of the house. And he disappeared last fall. I don't know if he migrated or if he died or what, but we haven't seen him yet. But I just got excited about seeing a mockingbird. I thought maybe it was Bernard come home. So I don't know, maybe he'll show back up this year, maybe not. I don't know if he is still alive. I'll probably never know unless of course he shows back up. But he would get on the windows in the corner of the house there under the porch and tap on the bedroom window there, just driving Molly nuts. She'd be like, that damn bird. She'd be growling at him and barking. And he would do it to get her going. It was pretty evident that he enjoyed getting a rise out of her. So yeah, it was pretty cute. He was an awesome bird. And then we had another, for just once I saw him, we had a cardinal show up that did the same thing. He fought with himself in the mirrors on the cars. So evidently there are a few birds around that'll do that. But none so consistent as Bernard. There goes a cat. Go, cat, go. Get out of the road, cat. That is a wild cat, folks. He was running. He was hoofing it. Did you see him bouncing along? ran out in the yard that I had to get back in, that was Tuck. That's our new boy. We've got to get him in, get him fixed, I think. I'm debating whether to fix him or not, actually. I've never had a dog that I didn't have neutered or spayed because I really don't want puppies. But, you know, I'm just debating. I don't know if I even need to do it with him. Like, probably will. We probably will. I kind of hate to do it to him because it seems mean. You know, here, come on, boy, let's go have you snipped. You know, take them things off. You're not going to need those. You know, it just seems kind of mean. But then again, I don't want him taking off and running around and chasing girls and getting hit by a car or something either. So, you know, what do you do? And God knows there's enough puppies around. We don't need to be making any more puppies. Okay, there's the zebras today. Can't really. I'm already kind of past them. They're pretty far out there anyway. A little hard to see, but you might have been able to see them from a distance. This place, I guess they take animals from the zoos and give them kind of some pasture time to just chill out and not have people screwing with them all the time. I guess. I'm not even sure about that. That's what I've heard. Just rumors. So I'm really looking forward to this job because it's just going to be a single trailer. And it's not going to be a gigantic boat of a trailer either, because the factory I'm going to doesn't make the giant ones. I'm pretty sure. I think they just make the stock / horse trailers, the 2-horse trailers, and then the bigger gooseneck stocks. So I'm hoping that's what this is going to be, and that it's not going to be like a big old heavy ordeal like that one last night was. Now I'm gun shy again. I get this way after I get burnt, you know. It's like, but these people are not, they're not customizers, they're the actual factory, and I love pulling these trailers anyway, so. This should pay pretty well. I think I should gross like $1,500. Of course, my fuel and all my other expenses have to come out of that, and taxes, of course. But that tops my minimum of 1,000 gross already for the week. Since I did like 500 last week, this should put me about even to where I would be if I'd gotten that other one, plus 1,000 for this next week. So anything I get else this next week is going to be icing on the cake, because I've already, this will even things out, you know. In the big scheme of things, this keeps me at my $1,000 gross minimum per week level. Even though I didn't get it last week, I'll get it, you know, it'll even out. My God, Sue, belabor the point. Holy crap, sometimes. You know, I talk on here a lot, but I don't have anything, I don't prepare like things to talk about or anything like that. I'm just driving along talking, which is kind of the whole point of doing this. I want you to feel like you're in the truck with me, and I'm just, you know, talking to you as we're driving along. Where this falls a little short is where, you know, obviously you're not literally in the truck with me, and so you can't, you know, make other comments, and we can't have like an actual two-way conversation that we would otherwise be having. So, and I'm not, you know, I just don't have the technology to do that. So this is the best I can do, I guess. But every once in a while, I do say things that are kind of dumb. You know, I just do. I'm human, so you know what they say, to err is human. Indeed it is. So I'm just going to be running right up Highway 81 today. And I'll run clear up 81 and then cut up into Kansas. I'm going to stay off of Interstate 35, and I'm going to stay off of the turnpike. I spend enough money paying turnpike tolls when I actually need to use it. On a day like this, when I don't really need to use it, I'm not going to. And that goes for the Kansas turnpike too. I'm not in any hurry to get on it. I probably won't run on the turnpike tomorrow either, because it's, like I said, it's going to be a single trailer, so it's not like when I was pulling doubles. It was just better, safer to be on the interstate. If I'm just pulling one little stock trailer, you know, I can run right on down any highway, and that's what I'll do on the way back. So I'm going up on the west side of Interstate 35 today on Highway 81, and I'll come back down tomorrow on the east side of 35 on Highway 177. So that's kind of my planned route. Now, I may or may not come home tomorrow night. That's going to depend largely on what kind of trailer this is, kind of how I feel about it, and you know, if I feel like spending another night in a motel. I can either come home and sleep at home tomorrow night and then go really super early and deliver it on Tuesday, or I can just head straight on south past here and get as far down there as I can Monday night before I run out of hours, because I will run out of hours before I get it there. It's like 12 hours of trip, and then I can deliver it on in early Tuesday morning that way. But I'll have to buy another motel if I do that. So it's a decision between one night in a motel, which I have to do tonight, or 2 nights in motels, which I would have to do if I keep going. And it's also a difference of 60 more miles. So looking at it monetarily, the best hotel price I'm going to get in that part of Texas is probably going to be close to $100. And if I come home and then go out again in the morning, it's going to add about 60 miles to my trip. And if I'm getting 10 miles to the gallon, that's going to be 10 gallons of fuel at $4 a gallon. So that's going to be $40. So 40 versus 100. So I'll probably come home and just run the extra miles and save $60 off of what I would otherwise be spending for the motel. So that's probably what I'll do. Seems more sensible to do it that way, even though it adds 60 miles to the trip. Well, 60 miles over, you know, a 700-mile trip is not that big of a deal. It's an extra hour of driving, and most, you know, it's kind of like half of that the first day and half the second, so an extra half an hour driving each day, and it makes my driving day shorter on Monday. So, you know, we'll see. It just depends. Now, if this was a trailer that I could actually stay in, you know, camp in, then that would make a difference, because I could stop at a truck stop and just sleep in it if I needed to and not have to buy a motel. So that's a possibility too. I don't think it's going to be one like that, but it may be. It may have a locking tack room with a man door. And it's getting warm enough now that I can actually do that now at night, because it's, you know, it's not that cold at night down here. If you're out of the wind, you're pretty much good. So these are the things I think about. Decisions, and I'm just paying attention to the speed here, because guess where we're at? Rush Springs, the speed trap. We came through here Friday. He was sitting here running radar. Not a surprise because they do it a lot. They make a lot of money off this road. Always have. I always get tickled at the people who actually get stopped in here. It's like, you can't possibly not know that this is like one of the most famous speed traps in this area. There he sits. That doesn't look like a police unit to me. I don't think that is. I think that's somebody just pulled over. Yeah, it's not a cop car. So he's not out here running traffic this morning. Maybe he's in church. Could be. Being Sunday morning and all. But it's Sunday almost noon now. It's 11:20. Adjusting stuff on dash here. It's bugging me. I like things to be neat and tidy. Which is kind of funny because I was a little slob when I was a kid. And I still can tolerate a certain level of slovenliness, but I got my limits. And the places where I spend most of my time, like in my trucks, have to be ship shape or it will drive me nuts. That's why I stopped and rearranged everything after I took that box out of here, the camera mount box. So I took that box in, took the box in the house, and Bill's kind of laughing at me. I'm like, no, this isn't going to work. Not in this truck. He says, oh, I bet Bell built like that. We've got a cat that loves getting in boxes. So I said, well, we'll just have to take the mount off of it. Throw a cushion in there for her if you want to. So he takes the mount off and he sets it down and she jumps up off the table and runs away. She's like playing hard to get. Little cats. So we like inherited a bunch of cats. Well, not really inherited. I guess rescued while we were at the lake. And enough was enough. We had too damn many cats for a lot of years. We still have too many cats. We've got 8 cats right now. At the peak of our catness, we had 16 cats. 17 if you counted the transient on again, off again visitor cat, Gracie. She would come stay in the winter and then she would leave in the summer. But she was wild. She was 100% wild. She just took a liking to me for some reason. And I guess because I fed her probably. But about half of them have died off. It's been years, you know. This is over, well, 14 years. So the 8 that we still have, 2 of them are mama cats who had 1 litter of kittens each. They got knocked up before we could get around getting them spayed. Well, one of them showed up pregnant, so we didn't have a choice with her. The other one, we didn't get her spayed early enough. She got knocked up. Well, she had 5 kittens. She had 3 females, or 3 males and 2 females. And the 2 females have since died. One of them of old age. I guess both of them pretty much of old age. And one of the boys died young. He got hit by a car. He got way up on the main road, like a mile from the house, and got hit by a car. It was Buster. So we still have that mama cat, and she's still got 2 boys living, Bo and Henry. So we've got them. So there's Dinksy, Bo, and Henry. So it's mama and her 2 boys. Then there's Bell Bell, and she had 3 kittens. She was the one that we didn't have any choice. She showed up pregnant. So she had 2 girls that are kind of evil twins. They're kind of tortoiseshell, long-haired girls. And she had 1 boy, and he was a big yellow tabby. Well, he died years ago. And then So the two girls and mom are there. So there's Mitzi and Bitsy and Belle. So Belle and Dinksy are the moms. Henry and Bo and Mitzi and Bitsy are their children. So there's 6 cats there that are 2 little family groups. And then the other 2 that we have are sisters. And they showed up. It was like somebody dumped 5 little kittens out of the lake. And I put them in a kennel and gave them to Bill and said, go see if you can get rid of these at Walmart. So he did manage to give away 1, but he brought the other 4 home. So 2 of those have died off since. They died not too long after we moved to the new place. One of them died, one of them disappeared. I don't know if she just left or if a coyote got her or what. The other one got sick and died. So there are 2 of these sisters left, and that's Deetsy and Rascal. So we've got 3 separate family groups of cats that, you know, they've never known anything else but us. So, you know, what do you do? And this is why we can't travel, because we've got them. We can't just go off and leave them all. We've got the 2 dogs, and then right now we've got 4 grown chickens, and Bill just hatched a baby chicken Friday night. And he reported to me this morning that it's eating. So we think it's gonna do okay. He hasn't seen it drink yet, but he was giving it water with an eyedropper. He was a little worried about it. But it is eating, so it must be drinking too, probably. So he's gonna keep an eye on it. But out of all the eggs that he has, that's the only one that hatched in his incubator. But he hatched one, so I'm like, you're the only guy I know who can make a chicken. He's looking at me like, you're so silly. But he did. He made a chicken. You know, he had a little help from, you know, Little Hen and Jack the Rooster, but he actually, you know, incubated and got this chicken to hatch. So I'm pretty impressed with that. And, you know, you can say that I'm easily impressed. That's fine, but that's kind of mean too. You know, kind of mean to Bill. He's pretty impressive. He can do a lot of stuff, so. Anyway. So now we've got evidently 4 chickens and maybe 1 more. If it continues to go, if it thrives. He said they're kind of touch and go when they're little like that. And there are no other chickens to be in there with it, so it may get lonely. So he put a mirror in there. So just so it'll, you know, be able to see something else alive in there beside itself, which is really itself, but it won't know that. But birds like looking at reflections too, so, you know, it's kind of cute. Man, this is just a fine day. It's 38 degrees. There's not a cloud in the sky. We're getting into the Ninnekah area. Look at all those trees getting their leaves. I'm ready for it. I'm sick of winter. We didn't even have a winter, not a really serious one. I feel sorry for my family. They're still up in northwest Colorado, and they're still, you know, butt deep in snow right now. And more falling. So they're probably going to listen to this and go, God, won't you complain about something? I'm so sick of winter. Oh, you had 1 snowflake. You know, that's kind of the reception I would expect from them for that. Rightfully so. Oh gosh. So I'm debating stopping at Starbucks. I don't really have to, but I think I will. I might as well, I guess. Even though I've got nice coffee and all, it's 7 hours up there, so it'll be good if I can eat. And I don't know if I'm going to come across another Starbucks the route that I'm taking. This may be the only one that I will see until I get way up in Kansas. So I've been watching a lot of videos on eating carnivore, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be more carnivorous and less junkiferous. So I pretty much have sworn off candy altogether, even peanut M&Ms, yes, even though there's peanuts in them. The things that I'm just about out of that I won't be buying any more of are Ruffles potato chips and ice cream. So that's all going away. I don't have much left, so I'm kind of weaning off of those. I decided instead of just throwing it in the trash, I'm going to go ahead and enjoy it, because this might be the last time I get to enjoy something like that for a long, long time. Because well, I can make ice cream that'll be acceptable, but I can't make potato chips. So, not that tastes like Ruffles. And if I'm eating carnivore, I'm probably not going to be eating a lot of potatoes. So, and I will throw this in as a caveat. I will eat potatoes occasionally because of the potassium level in them, and I need the potassium. So, I'll keep doing that occasionally, just not, potato chips every day or whatever, but an actual potato, like a baked potato or whatever, with butter on it. That I know they're not crazy about you doing that, but I don't care what they're crazy about. This is something that, that'll make this sustainable for me, being able to do that occasionally. But today, I think I'm going to stop and get my egg bites, because I can primarily, and because I'm kind of hungry. Now, the thing I need to adjust to, this is going to be the hardest thing for me to adjust to, eating carnivorously, because I've been dieting for years, literally, since at least 2016. No, since before that, since about 2014. Yeah, it was the year before I quit smoking. I got pretty fat just from menopause, and well, the year before I quit smoking, I started really working at it, working at dieting, and I ended up losing like 30 pounds. I got down to 160, but I never could get beyond that. Well, it's crept all back on, because I could not sustain the Weight Watchers diet for all those years. But I tried. I stayed on Weight Watchers for like 5 years, and I just kept gaining more weight and more weight back. You can lose a lot of weight on Weight Watchers, that's true, but you also will gain it back if you stay on Weight Watchers, because you're putting yourself in such a calorie deficit, your body holds on to any weight it gets. That's my theory anyway, not a doctor. So I hurt myself by staying on it that long, I think. I think I really screwed my metabolism, and I think it's still screwed up. So the thing that's the most weird for me about eating a carnivorous diet is that you just eat when you're hungry, and you eat until you're full. And then you just don't worry about it again until you get hungry. So you're not counting calories. You're not enforcing some false fasting period, like intermittent fasting, because I've tried that too, and that doesn't work for crap for me. I've tried eating one meal a day in a 1 hour window, and I lost about 5 or 6 pounds, and then that was it, and then my weight went right back up. So all of this is bullshit. They're tactics that they try and get you to use to get you to do these wackadoodle diets and all this. So I'm just kind of done with it. So I don't know how to just eat when I'm hungry anymore. So that's what I'm trying to just retrain myself to do now. And I'm getting hungry, so I'm going to stop and get food. And I'm going to listen to my body and ignore all the other shit. Now, as far as I know, these egg bites are carnivorous. They've got eggs, they've got cheese, and they've got bacon. You know, so that seems pretty carnivorous to me. You know, animal products. And that's the whole idea of it. You know, just to limit your intake to animal products. And I'm going to just roll with it and see what happens. So, I don't know. Should be interesting. So I've never actually tried this, and all the time I've been trying to lose weight, I've never actually tried just eating meat and cheese and eggs and butter, and then eating just whenever I'm hungry, and not worrying about counting anything or any of that stuff. So the one thing I guess that I need to kind of keep tabs on is if I don't start losing weight doing this, then I need to up the fat and lower the protein a little bit. So I'm going into this thinking higher fat to begin with, because evidently for women, especially postmenopausal women, a higher fat, lower protein mix of the carnivorous diet seems to be more effective in regulating your body weight. So we will see. I'm not convinced, but I'm willing to try it because I've tried everything else, and I've been to the point where I've been ready to beat my own head on a rock, just because I'm so sick of having to think about it. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of feeling guilty every time I put something in my mouth, and I have for years. You know, anything I eat that actually tastes good, I feel guilty as shit. You know, for having eaten it. It's just a horrible, kind of stupid way to live, actually. Yeah. But, you know, I keep trying because I don't want to get fat-related diseases and die young. So, you know, not that I'm going to die young at this point. I mean, I'm 64, so. But I don't want to die this young. Put it that way. So, you know, just trying to keep things all working. Fish out some money here. That's not money, that's a shopping list. Damn it. That was disappointing. Turn yield on green, alrighty. I'm gonna slide right on up in here. I'm so glad they put this in here. I guess my other option is McDonald's, and that's just for buying meat. So, oh, we're busy today. We are busy. See if I not hit the curb like I did yesterday. Bounced off of it pretty good. I think I'm good today. It's gonna be like 12 bucks, I think. It's expensive, but you know, it's no more expensive than Sonic. I stopped in there and got Bill, he wanted a Sonic meal the other night. That was like 12 or 13 bucks too, so. Alrighty. That should be sufficient. Awesome, thank you. Have a good one. All right, I'm good to go. So I've got food. I've got food for tonight in my little my lunch container. And I've got little ice packs I keep in the freezer to stick in them so I can keep the bacon and the cheese cold. You don't want that stuff getting hot, you know, obviously. It's getting hot in here, speaking of hot. I'm probably, possibly a little overdressed. I'm layered. This is very strange how they did this. They like cut out the end of the actual street and put in this giant parking lot, but then you can get through this way, so you feel like you're going, well, you actually literally do have to go through a parking lot to get back to the street. There's not another option if this is where you're headed. This is where I'm headed, so I'm going to be going on through Chickasha, so I'm not heading back to the interstate or anything. I don't care about the turnpike today. So this will be a different route. I'm going to go ahead and stop and restart here. Okay, so this will be a different route than I usually take because I'm going to run straight up Highway 81 out of Oklahoma. Kind of a long ways up there. It's going to take us a couple hours just to get out of Oklahoma. And the road's not the best. But that's okay because I'd rather put up with a crappy road today than the interstate. I'd pretty much rather put up with a crappy road any day than the interstate, depending on what I'm hauling. If I'm pulling something, you know, that doesn't need to be all bounced around too much. It's a little different, but so we're gonna sit here all day at this light. All day. All day. So if I didn't tell you where we're at, we're in Chickasha, Oklahoma. And I'm on Grand Avenue, getting ready to turn on to 4th Street, if this light will ever change and let me. Here we go. I actually went to school here for a while, high school. And I've probably mentioned it before, the school mascot is not like a tiger or a bulldog or a bear or an Indian or anything like that. It's fighting chicks, which I thought was just ridiculous. But that's what it is. So my class ring has a fighting chick on one side of it. Not kidding. Not kidding. So I've got 3/4 of a tank of fuel, so I'm not even worried about buying fuel. I'll buy it somewhere. If I run across it cheap somewhere, I'll probably top off in the morning on the way in to get this trailer, just so I'll be full up when I pick it up. But I've actually got probably enough fuel to get up here. See how many miles it is. Oh yeah, I got more than enough. It's 270 miles as the crow flies to where I'm going tonight. It's 305 miles that I have to finagle around to get there. So I've got 30 miles of turns and obstructions evidently between me and Abilene, Kansas. So Chickasha has changed a little bit since I was a kid here. Not a whole lot though. Not a huge amount. In fact, why don't I take you by and show you where I used to live, since I'm piddling around and wasting time today anyway. Traffic. Annoying traffic. Okay, so everybody and their dog is going to keep coming out and keep coming out, so I'm just going to go here. All right. So I'll just run you by our old house. I've actually lived in a lot of places here, but I'm talking about when I was in high school, not as an adult. My mom and dad's house in Chickasha. We lived here for about 2 years, and I came back and lived here for another year or so when I was grown. Well, kind of grown. As soon as I could come back down here, as soon as I turned 18, I came back down here and lived here for another while. Because I was pissed off because they made me leave here in the first place. It's like, okay. And this is kind of a little bit out of the way, but not much, like a couple blocks, because I'm heading up this way anyway. Highway 81 takes a jog over to the west. And then heads back up north. So we'll just, instead of doing this on the main road, we'll do it on the side roads with a 1 block detour up here. So there's 10th. We actually lived in 2 houses here. And one of them was a rental house, and it's right down here. This is right before we left Chickasha. Mom and Dad had bought a house up the road a ways. They sold it, and then we had to live someplace for another month before they were ready to move. So this house right here on this corner is the house that we lived in that was a rental, down right there. So we stayed there for a month or 2, wasn't very long. But the house that we lived in most of the time here, that they actually owned, was up here. Just a bit. Look at the blooms on that tree. Holy cow. Pretty. So the house that they owned is here on the left. And I'm going to stop here and point the truck at it a little bit. It's this one here with the porch that's falling apart. That right there. It looks like it's vacant now. And it looks like it's falling apart. It's actually a decent house back in the day. So anyway, there was my little side trip down memory lane. My GPS is freaking out, scolding me, nagging at me. remember having a pretty good time here when I was a kid. I mean, I was kind of a rebellious little shit. And kind of got in trouble a few times. I can't say I was robbed of my sowing my wild oats or anything, because I did that. Over here to the left is the high school. Go ahead. It's over there, over yonder. That's the high school I went to here. It's not the only high school I attended. I attended 3 separate high schools. This was just the one here. Over on the right here, you'll notice there's a fire station. And over on the left, you'll notice that there's open field. It was Sadie Hawkins' day. And I was walking across this open field with a guy named George Cobb. And we were walking back over toward the school building. I was trying to get him to go to Sadie Hawkins' Day dance with me, and he wouldn't do it. Turned me down. But we were doing like kids do, doing stupid shit. So we had books of matches, and we were striking matches and throwing them at each other as we were walking along, discussing all this heavy stuff, you know. And it was windy, and it was dry grass across there. And one of our matches got in the grass and started a grass fire. I mean, I can laugh about it now because this has been 40 years ago, okay? You know, so don't get your panties in a bunch over me being a little arsonist. We set that field on fire. We were stomping it, trying to put it out. Couldn't get it put out. So we ran, instead of just running over here to the firehouse, neither one of us thought of that. We were headed toward the school. So we ran to the school and called. Had them call from the office. I think it took them like, 2 gallons of water and a squirt of the hose to put it out. It wasn't any big deal, but it was funny. It was very funny. But, yeah. Good times. Good times. This is more fun when I'm not in a hurry. I like it. So I'm turning north again on Highway 81. We're out here on the northwest side of Chickasha. Looks like this light is out. Has been for a while. I got the trash can with stop signs on it sitting in the middle.